Janise Smith, and it brings me great pleasure to be your host. And I'm so glad that you tuned into the Lady Boss TV1 YouTube channel. And oh, do we have a show in store for you today. So ladies, and the ones who love us, grab your cup of coffee, your favorite cup of joe, sit way back and relax and spend some time with me. And on today's show, we have the international best-selling author, Michelle McDonald. She wrote a book on her real-life experience after birth trauma that nearly cost her and her new baby's life. You got to stick around to hear her triumphant story of survival. And welcome back to the Lady Boss Show. And just as I promised, sitting right next to me is the international best-selling author, Michelle McDonald. Welcome, Michelle.
Hi.
Let me tell you, I'm so glad that you're here, especially to talk about your recent book, The Victory Cry, because it's talking about your life experience, giving birth and having the birth trauma all around it. So I just want you to take us back to that day.
Okay. So it all started about 4 years ago in the summer, August, and I went in regular day to give birth. And I had very little, contractions were coming very slow. So we were all there in the room, my mom and my husband. And then all of a sudden, I started to get this ringing in my ear. And I wasn't sure where it was coming from. It was very sudden.
So it wasn't in your, where it was in the ear?
It was in the ear.
So that was the first sign?
That was the first sign. And then shortly after that, it was so piercing, I told my mom, we need to get a doctor in here because I don't know where this is coming from.
If you could describe, when you said piercing, help us to understand, when you said it was that, because sometimes people say they get a ringing in their ear, and it's just what made it so piercing that you said we need to get a doctor? What was that sound?
It was almost like a drilling.
Ooh.
It was really hard and piercing.
Ooh. When you said drilling,
yes,
I feel that.
It was out of the ordinary.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, I could only remember the doctor coming in, and I slowly faded, and I fell back in the bed.
Wow.
And I went unconscious.
Wow.
And I pretty much woke up 20 hours later.
So from the time you heard the ringing in your ear, that was the last thing that you remember until you woke up?
That was the last thing I remember.
Wow.
Yes.
So what was the birth trauma now that you, in preparing for the show, I know that it's something that's very rare.
Extremely rare. So when I woke up, the doctors came in and they explained to me what had happened.
Mm-hmm.
And they said that what I had was called Amniotic Fluid Embolism.
Ooh.
AFE for short.
Mm-hmm.
And really what that is where the amniotic fluid gets into the mother's bloodstream and starts to slowly poison her. It's like a anaphylactic shock into the mother.
And when you say rare, just so that we understand how rare it is, what's it, 1 in a
One in 40,000.
Wow.
1 in every 40,000 births, and it could affect the mother and or the child.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's how rare it is.
Wow. So take us back to your giving birth. What? I know you were out for the 20 hours, but was there anything that you remembered within that 20 hours, or it was all just really a blur?
I don't remember anything at all.
Did your mother or your husband at the time, what did he tell you? How they must have felt. What were you trembling or?
They were very terrified over the whole thing. My mother was a nurse, so she's seen quite a bit of these things. So she was very terrified. They told me at times I needed to be held down because I was really, in a way that I was, needed help and just wanted, I just needed to be held down.
So even though they medicated you to put you out, you didn't even remember that these are things that they had to explain to you, that what you were doing.
Exactly.
So somebody had to kind of tell you for 20 hours, this is what you were experiencing.
Yes.
So
exactly.
did they say that you were, yelping for pain? Were you in any discomfort?
I was in discomfort, and I was asking for help to help me. I don't remember any of it. And I was, it was just like a need help type of thing. But the other thing that they also told me is that what this whole thing is about is that when it first happened, I started to go into cardiac arrest. So a code blue was called on me.
Wow.
And that was the first thing. And then the next emergency call was, the next code that they called was code pink.
Wow. So I know that many people know what code blue is, but
Yes.
there might be a few, just to set the stage, like, what is code blue? And I have to be honest, I've never heard of code pink before.
Yes.
So it doesn't sound like it's, even though the pink is a nice color, it doesn't sound like that's a good experience. So take us through.
The code pink was is a pediatric emergency for my son.
Oh my.
So he was losing oxygen basically. So they had to do an emergency C-section, and then they got him out. They got him out in time, and he was a bit blue, but they had to go into like an incubator for a couple of hours. And then the third code that was called on me was Omega.
So there's 3 codes.
I had 3 emergency codes back to back.
So code blue is
cardiac arrest, going
that's
into
a code
cardiac
blue,
arrest.
and then code pink was for your
a son, pediatric emergency, and code Omega is for blood. I needed 30 units of blood and blood products. You know those bags and units? I needed 30 of those.
30 of those bags.
Yes.
So how much is that, like a liter? Or like, 30
I
is...
don't know if it's a...
That's a lot.
It is a lot. Yes, I needed 30 of those.
And to have 30, I mean, that's why it's so important to give blood, because that's from the good people giving blood. They were able to give you 30. Thank God they had that.
Yes.
And your blood type.
Yes.
My goodness.
So, during that time, as I said, I really didn't know anything what was going on. It was one of the rare calls that I ever got in the hospital, having 3 codes on one person in
space of 20 hours.
Well, not even so in the space of 20 hours, but consecutive, back to back to back. And the whole experience was just rare, because you could imagine my mom and my husband at the time just outside, not really knowing what's going on, hearing over the speaker all of these things, and all the nurses and doctors rushing into the room. And so from their point of view, it was very, very traumatic and uneasy for a lot of hours.
So the ringing of the ear, now when you went to talk with the doctor, I imagine you asked him, of course, why was there anything that I could have done? Because as any mom or anybody, you always ask the why, like, is there something you could have done better or differently? But the ringing of the ear, did you ask him how that came about?
Nobody knows. That's the sad, I don't know if it's a sad thing, but nobody knows. I've been able to connect to a lot of my sisters on Facebook who are survivors of AFE, and everyone has a different story.
Wow.
Different, but yet similar.
Yeah. So were you one of the rare ones that had the ringing of the ear?
I haven't come across anyone else that heard that ringing in the ear. And I still get rippling effects from it. I still get it's not as piercing, but I still get effects from it. But, all the other survivors have a different story to tell. And, but yet all similar, we all can relate. We all so blessed to be here.
And to have a beautiful baby boy, pride and joy. I mean, giving birth as a mom, it's the joy and the pain. And it's worth every What is your purpose? Has God given that to you, or have you kind of defined it right now?
I would say it's still in development, but a lot of it came out of learning a lot more about myself, self-development and growth, and being able to help others go through any adversity that they might have, or any challenges, any things that they might be going through, really just helping other people. I went on to do coaching, and during that coaching, it allowed me to really learn a lot about my growth and what I went through, how to accept it.
It made you stronger.
It made me stronger. And then having to deal with a child, being a parent, being a mom, the responsibility. There was a lot of changes taking place all at the same time. Having that inner strength and that mental toughness to get me through every day. The support, having support around you.
One of the things that you're saying too is that you want to help women, like, with that support, but also there's the support of the independence, and finance and wealth is a big part of that. Is that one of the reasons why you kind of steered your direction as well in becoming like a financial advisor?
Yes, more financial professional. What I realized during my coaching is that a lot of people have a lot of challenges in the financial area, and it affects other areas of their life, whether it is in their relationships, whether it's with their health, whether it is in their careers. It all comes back down to the finances. And I was able to really find a company that to really work with me, to really support with the book, and having that platform that I can continue to give and support the AFE Foundation, and that's what I want to continue to do.
So there's a foundation. So after you went through this, traumatic experience during birth, you probably reached out to see if you were not alone, because that's what we
the first thing I did.
Make sure that wasn't just a vacuum.
Yes.
And you found out that you were.
I found that there was AFE Foundation, and there's the lady that started it, Miranda Klassen. She also is an AFE survivor, and this year they're celebrating 10 years.
Wow!
And we have so many women survivors.
Is this an international organization, or is it just one in Canada with chapters?
It's an international organization, but the base is in the United States. And we have women from all around the world who is a part of we're really on a Facebook group, and the head office for the foundation is in the States. Wow.
So how do you support each other? Is it that you guys meet once a year, or is it that you give out literature in how to, is there any way to prevent, having this kind of experience with childbirth? Is there any preventative measure that you could share?
It's so sad to say, but
no way.
Research is being done now, because we still are not able to figure out what causes it.
And when you think about, yes, 1 in 40,000 is very rare. But when you think about the big scheme of life, it is something that can happen to somebody that you know. Like 1 in 40,000, it's very rare. But as you pointed, when it happened to you, you went and did your research, and you found out that there were, thousands of, if not hundreds of people in your boat. So I'm glad that they're doing that research. And is that where some of the money is going towards, like the researching to see how it can be prevented?
Yes, and that is what stemmed me to write the book. I just wanted to share my story and really be a voice. This book is really to be a voice for those women who didn't make it. There are a lot of women that just didn't survive. And this is only my story. The proceeds from the book will go towards the foundation to continue the research. That's my hope. And with the company that I work with now, World Financial Group, they have a charitable trust, and when you when you put money towards any sort of charitable organization, they match dollar for dollar.
Wow.
So
this is your charity of choice.
That's my charity of choice. This is big for me, just having just somewhere for other women that can go and know that they're not alone. They have support, but also the spouses and partners of those mothers that didn't make it. You know, they're wonderful dads doing great things out there with the kids who were left, you know, without a mom, and they need tremendous support as well. So we are really doing everything we can, and I'm doing my part that we can help with the research as well as help with families who need the support as well.
Where can we go, like if we wanted to help, first of all, to get your book, and secondly, to, you know, to make a donation or just to get some more information?
You can go to afesupport.org, and all the information is there. There's also a donate page. You can go there and donate whatever you can. You can also purchase my book. It is on Amazon as well as Chapters Indigo, and the proceeds will go on the back. It says part proceeds, but the proceeds now, all the proceeds now go to the foundation. Yes.
That's how strongly you feel about it.
Yes.
Why did you call the book Victory Cry?
For being victorious and coming through such a traumatic experience.
Wow.
And the cry is for the tears. Just being able to be so blessed to be here, to have a second chance.
And welcome back to the Lady Boss Show. I'm Janise Smith, your host. And if you're just joining us, you have missed a great and passionate conversation with the author, the international author Michelle McDonald, who wrote a book called The Victory Cry. And she's going to read us an excerpt from this book, and it's really about her resilience, actually, of surviving birth trauma. And so now she's going to be reading a book, a little excerpt from this book. So Michelle?
Our wonderful, joyous event had turned into an absolute nightmare. I woke up with a trachea tube in my throat and was unable to talk. I felt completely disoriented, wondering what happened. I had no idea what time of day it was, or where my baby Eli was. Was he even alive? Unfortunately, I was alone when I regained consciousness, so my mind began to race with so many negative thoughts. Eventually, my husband walked into the room and sat on the bed. I saw a tear rolling down his cheek. In my brain, I was shouting, telling him, asking him what had happened. As you can imagine, I needed the information quickly. Don't leave out any details. Where is Eli? I was pretty much shouting in my head, pleading in my head, please tell me what had happened. The answers just wasn't coming fast enough. After what I felt like hours to me, 2 doctors walked in and began to explain what had transpired during my son's delivery. Being able to wake up, and I don't know if you can even just imagine, just waking up, disoriented, looking around, a tube down your throat, not being able to talk, wondering why, what had happened, feeling your belly,
and that the baby is...
and you're wondering what happened. Is he alive? Did he die? Nobody around to ask questions. And when the doctors came in and started to explain, that was all I wanted to know. And it felt like they took so long to get to that one question. Yes, they were trying to explain what had happened. But at that moment, I didn't care. I just wanted to know if he was alive.
That's all that mattered.
That's all that mattered. That's all that mattered. It was just that one, just to know, was he alive and okay?
And thank God, we know he's alive. We
I
hear him
in the background.
Yeah, and like I said, there's nothing like a mama's love.
Yes.
And there's nothing in this world, than being a mom is like number one.
Yeah. It is.
You instantly had that mother's love, and you woke up and the first thing you wanted to know is, not about me, how's my baby?
Yeah.
How's my baby?
Yeah.
And your baby is alive and well.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, and
yes,
thank you. Thank you for coming in and sharing your heartfelt story. And I know without any question that you have made a difference to some of the women. You've inspired some of the women, and some of the women that are probably having a baby right now, knowing that you have survived such a terrible ordeal, but you can live to talk about it, and your baby's here.
Yes.
Making us, making noise, making us laugh, entertaining us, and I can't thank you enough.
Thank you so much for
having me. I cannot thank you enough. And just one more time, where can they go to get this great book and to donate and support the AFE?
Yes, the AFE Foundation. You can go to afesupport.org, or you can purchase the book. It's in Chapters or Amazon.
Thank you, Michelle, so much. And thank you, my people, for joining us this week on the Lady Boss Show. I sure hope you'll tune in next week when I am joined with another very special guest.